So why do you think kids end up doing this? Do you think a lot of them are runaways?
I noticed, like, being in America, a lot of the kids seem like they have good, like, family life for the most part. It seems like it's more of a game to them, just like, you know, being able to go around and make money, like, just asking for it, not working, you know, and just it seems like it's more of like a game to them.
There are over 250,000 miles of track in America, running through virtually every urban and most rural areas. Some see this as an opportunity to resurrect something, or try to resurrect something of the romance of riding the rails. Borrowing from the legacy of Steinbeck and others, they are known as traveling kids or train hoppers, and no doubt you've seen them fainting on corners or flying signs in the streets. We're going to delve into this corner of subculture this time around on TrueRVA. Take a moment to check it out with us, and maybe you'll learn how to ride a train, fly a sign, or annoy commuters.
It's a whole subculture that we're talking about here. Like, it's not just you and a couple of people, it's thousands of people all over the world who are participating in this. Like, you have, there's like musical, you know, like festivals, not just festivals helping kids out, and you know, all that sort of stuff.
There's a lot of bands too that ride trains, you know, travel around and play shows and stuff. It's mainly kind of bluegrass, old-timey kind of music.
No, you mean like the modern folk stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like folk punk, kind of bluegrass kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't get that at all, man. I mean, seriously, like
I like a lot of the music.
Well, I mean, I understand the idea that it's folk music, and you know, you're trying to like make a point that it's not, you know, you're not part of this like popularized culture, and you're part of folk culture and everything, and you're like with the people, and you can play it with acoustic instruments and stuff like that. I mean, I get the idea, but on the other hand, it's just annoying sounding. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to feel like I should be doing some sort of two-step or like, you know, square dance in order to like participate in the musical form that I'm listening to.
Indeed, there are a lot of bands that associate themselves with the Travelin Kid scene, but there's some level of disingenuity to it all because they don't travel on train cars. They have expensive equipment, merchandise, lights, you know, roadies, the entire 9 yards. They're all pretty professional bands and do pretty well. And they all have, if you'll notice, quite different sounds. The only thing they seem to have in common is the way they dress. So they do all look the same. So I guess you could say that they have developed their own style of dress and clothing. So it is kind of a subculture. So let's get back to the beginnings of the subculture and the actual traveling. Where did we get that photo? Does anybody know her?
Which one to take? If you're at a train yard and you want to, you know, you're trying to get out of town, like somebody's after you and you're trying to get out of town. You're not like a member of the normal Travelin Kid conspiracy.
There's two kinds of trains. There's GM train, General Manifest, which are called junk trains, which are your box cars and your grainers and your tankers and stuff like that. Those are slower trains, a lower priority. A lot of times they're empty. The other type of train is an intermodal train, or what we call IMs, and those are the containers, you know, stacked trains. Those are high priority. They're carrying precious cargo, electronics, perishable things, and those go a lot faster. So if you were in a train yard and you wanted to get out of town, you know, catch a really fast train, an intermodal train will pull up, probably usually on the main lines, do a quick crew change and then leave. Those trains go really, really fast. Junk train, you could be sitting in the train yard for, you know, day, maybe 8 hours. Those trains will go really slow. They'll side out for other trains to pass by.
It's really easy. Intermodal's got double stack. It has like piggyback with maintenance, like that kind of stuff. Whereas the carriers and the tractor trailers, the containers that tractor trailer trucks drive.
Back trailer of the.
Yeah, those containers. That's what intermodal is. They carry those and the trailers that they carry. Those are intermodals.
Jumps you can tell because they're usually carrying like steel, coal, random things like grain,
sometimes
salt.
Sometimes it has priority and it's a junk train, but it's very few times you get on a priority junk train because like they're stopping at all kinds of different places as opposed to going from like one big city to the
Unless
next.
it's like a solid train, which means it's a solid grain train, which is like all grain. And that's probably at its degree.
Or if it's all oil, it's
That's
headed
like
to
high
a factory somewhere.
You don't want to be in the.
Oh yeah, you do.
If it's loaded coal, train. If it's loaded, it's going to end up in a power treatment facility somewhere. Right. Or if it's all grain, it's going to end up at a grainer facility. And if it's carrying if it's all lumber loaders, it's going to end up in the middle of like some lumber facility, like where they load up the lumber loaders. If it's all auto racks, they're going to like a car facility where they load all the cars. You don't want to go in there and stuff. So.
The story with security, how do you guys keep from getting thrown off the train when you're trying to get on the train?
Well, railroad companies actually have their own police. We call them bulls. Railroad police. Each company has their own police. CSX police, Union police. Basically, they're glorified security guards. I mean, they're only police on their property.
Right.
But then again, at the same time, they're federal police because the freight trains are interstate property. So once you're off their property, they can't do anything to you. Generally, it's just out of sight, out of mind. You try to, it's like cat and mouse. You try to stay away from them, they try to catch you. Just try not to get spotted. That's why it's usually best to go on their train every night.
Know what you're doing, they're less likely to fuck with you.
And you're respectful.
Because they're just trying to keep people from acting stupid and.
So, how many sites are there?
There's a lot of sites.
So say there's at least 2 or 3 pages of sites with information where and when to catch a train. So you could basically plan ahead like a real vacation. They've got all the information you'd need to catch a train in any city.
I'm kind of surprised it's all on here because you don't want the spots to blow up.
Yeah.
Since the 1990s, freight trains have grown in length until the average size has expanded from 1.5 to 2 kilometers or more. This means that unless a yard can hold multiple trains of more than a mile in length, large portions of the train will be sitting outside the yard or easy view of security. The kids traveling on the trains clandestinely have taken advantage of this, locating hop-out spots, places where they can approach or leave the train with relative anonymity, in thousands of locations around the country like that seen here. Although these locations are often passed from mouth to mouth, it can also be found using common sense, information available on the internet, or simply following the tracks.
Yeah, that's.
There are a number of views from which to see the traveling kids in Richmond. Primarily, they are middle and upper class young adults. At the turn of the last century, they could have toured the continent or gone off to one war or another. But we live in a world both less distant and more complicated now, so hopping a train is one way for young adults to get a taste of adventure. On the other hand, as a sort of voluntary homeless, they are a fairly unnecessary burden on the social welfare system, diluting handouts and putting more pressure on the overworked local charities. In reality, though, as long as the sum total is a few kids popping in and out on the juice train, are they really a major problem? To me, the answer seems apparent. But people have to decide for themselves. They have to make the decision whether to hand $1 through the window at a corner or hand out spare change to one of them.
That's it for this week's episode of TrueRVA.
Check us out next week,
where we have an episode on the local Richmond sex industry. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube or check us out on blogspot.com.